Presenting Canary P.I. in Reminisce to Remember. Aberration. A J. Henry production. Big band sounding small? Put a little rawhide in that stride and throw away that wind-up Victrola. Try a new and improved record player from Sal's Discount Stereo and Cobblery. So tap those toes to your heart's content. We got you covered.
Loss of love, loss of familiarity, loss of money. If you orbit around the sun enough times, you'll experience your fair share. It's how you bounce back is what counts. Now, I might not be the best at that, but ultimately you dust off the trilby and, well, up and at 'em. But there's some things you don't come back from. Certain things you'll fall so deep into the rabbit hole you'll never come back out. Maybe it's not a question of can't. Maybe it's a question of not wanting to. What drives a person to fall so deep? Through an existence of the living dead. I'm ready, let me at him. Mr. Vogel? Interesting getup? Yeah, send him in. The door opened ever so slowly. Hey, come on in, I won't bite.
But maybe I will. I'm Dr. Franz Vogel. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
In walked a fellow covered head to toe, wearing a plague doctor's mask with a long black beak, a dark duster with thick leather gloves.
I don't mean to startle you with my outfit.
Are you sure?
I have a rare skin condition, solar urticaria. To put it simply, an allergy to the sun.
You mean to tell me you'd go up in a puff of smoke?
It's not as dramatic as that. I break out in severe hives. With enough exposure, it can be fatal. With the proper precautions, it's not a big deal.
Why the plague mask? Why so dramatic? Halloween was last month.
It brings a flair of pageantry. As long as I suffer from this affliction, I might as well have some fun with it. It also fits in with what I do for a living.
Why don't you take a seat and tell me what vexes you?
Mr. Canary, I am the head curator at the Medical Museum.
Is that the oddities place on 4th?
Well, yes, but that is not at the heart of our attraction. I believe whatever we can do to bring young minds to science is ultimately a good thing. What some have lovingly dubbed as pickled punks are preserved fetuses. They are used to study their abnormalities and afflictions to prevent such medical catastrophe in the future. They died, or never came to be, to help others. They deserve respect, and I give it to them best I can.
What problem are we looking at, Vogel?
Exhibits have gone missing. All kinds. Bones, preserved organs, body parts of all shapes and sizes. Many diseased or damaged beyond recognition.
What would anyone want with that stuff? Are they valuable?
Only to a select few, which makes it difficult to pawn off. I hear that the traveling circus cleans up every time they come through town. Without the right venue, I don't know what they'd want with them.
I actually knew a tattooed lady from the circus, did some work for her. Have you gone to the police?
They could care less. They think of us as morbid eggheads. People can't die twice, so they don't care.
Naturally.
We have a new exhibit that will be shown in a week. Maladies from the Orient. There's an 8-foot-tall skeleton of a poor soul who had a pituitary disorder. Isn't that something? They're on loan. If any go missing, it'll ruin relations with other researchers. We can't have that. They're sitting in a shipping container down at the docks as we speak.
I'll take the job. Let's go down to the museum and take a look around.
I must go and inspect the shipping containers to accept delivery. Meet me tonight at the museum at 7:30 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Canary. I'll see myself out.
Thought I've heard 'em all. Pickled what? We'll have to settle for a side of slaw if my patty melts for a while. Just goes to show you, if there's any kind of buck to be made, there'll always be a criminal element.
A cargo truck on I-5 has burst into flames. Firefighters are currently on the scene, but expect bumper to bumper. Add some vim and vigor to your hair with new Dapper Deluxe Hair Pomade.
Guaranteed to turn heads. Surely opening doors.
For you. Sponsor a tree planting for just 25 cents with the Youth Agriculture Society today. Your donation will not only help clean the air for years to come, but
add beautiful foliage and
better get an umbrella.
Storm clouds are moving in from the southwest.
We're issuing a flash
Flood warning until 10 p.m. tonight.
has escaped the worst has ever seen. If you matching his description, authorities at
What's with this thing? Don't tell me the tubes are burning out already. I hate this song. That's more like it. Something strange about this case. As absurd as this sounds, it feels like I'm having the strangest case of deja vu, I think they call it. Like I've been here before. I guess I'm getting to the point where I've seen it all. Been doing this too long. I arrived at the medical museum. Its blackened stone face greeted me. There was a monolithic stone gargoyle sat perched on a cornice. It looked like he was about to come alive and snatch someone up from the street. It had just started to drizzle as I felt a gust of wind at the base of my spine. I bucked as a full-body chill racked its way through me. I walked into the museum. The marble floors clicked under toe.
You made it, Mr. Canary. How's the weather out there?
Looks like a storm's coming in.
Eternal is the storm inside us all, Mr. Canary.
Beg your pardon?
Pay no mind to me. Normally I charge an admission for this, but how about I give you the nickel tour?
I have to look around anyway. How'd the inspection down at the dock go?
Dock? Oh, yes. Just fine. Being loaded in right now. Right this way, please. This is our wall of skulls. This one here is over 100 years old, run over by a covered wagon. This one right here was afflicted with an aggressive form of bone cancer. And this is my favorite. 3 eye sockets. A very rare mutation. Are we not impressed? This, Mr. Canary, is a human vascular system. It is made by injecting a cadaver with hot wax and meticulously trimming the detritus away.
Interesting.
Indeed. And this right here is a human head cut into cross-sections and suspended in ethanol.
Kinda gruesome.
I'm a man of science and not here to debate devout dogma. But in a way, these people have achieved immortality. They will populate literature and medical journals for a great time to come, and all the hearts and minds of patrons that walk these halls.
Dr. Vogel, do you run this museum with anyone else?
Anyone else? Well, yes. Well, no.
Is it a yes or a no?
Mr. Canary, we opened this museum in honor of our deceased son, Hans Vogel. I ran it with Greta.
I'm very sorry to hear that. Is she your wife? Where may I talk to her?
She is dead. Death surrounds me. The Reaper may come for us yet. Hans was an energetic boy, full of vigor and gaiety. He could make friends with anyone. Back in the old country, me and Greta were street performers. We were the best there was. People would come from surrounding towns just to see our juggling act. Glass vases and knives was our big finisher. Never dropped a vase, never so much as a nick. We were so prosperous we were able to put ourselves through school just from our sidewalk act. She was the best nurse I've ever seen. A light touch and an empathetic word from her lips would calm the most finicky patient. I became a researcher of sorts. When Hans got big enough, he became part of the act. In fact, we may have juggled him up in the air once or twice. We were hired to work a parade. Very prestigious, actually. We dressed as a family of jesters. I wore a mask and thick face paint underneath just to be extra safe. We broke out all the stops. We sang songs and they sang with us. We danced and so did they. We had a special marionette made just for the occasion. Greta was also a great ventriloquist, a master with her voice. She would dance this puppet all around and have full conversations through it with all the children. We heard a scream. The kind you only hear when death is rattling through you. It was Hans. We arrived with a perfectly healthy boy, and we left with... This couldn't be Hans. He was full of life, not this disfigured counterfeit. It couldn't be him, but it was. And it was my fault. You see, I was born with my affliction, and by all accounts it seemed it wasn't passed to Hans. We were wrong. It was just delayed. And his allergic reaction was even more extreme. I held his lifeless body that day, just calling his name. He had already expired, but I watched his skin further disfigure as I tried to cover him the best I could. A part of me went with him that day.
Sir, I'm very sorry. Do you need a glass of water or something?
I must apologize. This is all far in the past, but it has left its indelible mark. I am just fine. We emigrated to the United States to start fresh. I thought this venture would help my wife snap out of her deep depression, but she never recovered. I tried to lose my accent and assimilate. She grew bitter and distant. I didn't want to separate. I did all I could, but deep down she blamed me for the loss of our son. Couldn't get past it. She needed to make sense of it somehow. Somewhere to land the blame.
Dr. Vogel! Dr. Vogel! More items are unaccounted for! Hey, did you lose some weight? That's 8 in the past 2 weeks!
Ich glaub mich knuscht ein Elk. Come this way, Mr. Canary. I have something to show you.
You, don't go too far. I want to talk to you after I'm done with Vogel. He led me to the back and fished out a large key that he plunged into a heavy wood door.
This is where most of the theft seems to occur. Our exhibits are cycled in and out. We keep them in here until they're ready to be viewed again. Some are too dangerous to put on public display. Some are just too fragile. Some give toxic outgassing if not handled in the proper environment.
Is it safe being in here?
As long as you don't touch anything. This is an exhibit I am very excited for. Historic weapons. Each one assuredly has taken life.
Kinda creepy.
Sells tickets, thus brings awareness to our cause. This is a club from the German Peasants' War. This discoloration is 400-year-old blood. Daniel Boone's Tick-Licker long rifle.
He picked the gun up and pointed it right at my face. Why don't you take it easy there, Vogel?
Unloaded. Flint has been taken out. I cannot tell you why this wasn't taken. Napoleon's coronation sword. The jewels alone are worth more than anything in here. Except my...
Except, he held the sword out in a quick whip of the air, holding the point mere inches from my nose. Now I'm not gonna tell you again. Take it easy, Vogel.
Just having a little fun. Right this way, please. Mr. Canary, right behind you are 2 switches. Now I must show you something that will be very pertinent to this case. I must get it prepared in near darkness as I have to change into my safety gear. Now, please do as I say. Are you ready?
Okay, Vogel, whatever you say.
Flip the switch on the right-hand side.
With a crack and flash of spark, the lights went completely dark. I couldn't see my hand 3 inches in front of my face.
Just fine. Everything's okay. Just stay there.
I could hear the wheeling in of something heavy, the struggling of cloth and squeaky wheels.
Just getting changed. Do not turn the lights on until I'm ready. It would be bad for my health. Woohoo! Please, Mr. Canary, the switch. Lights on.
I hear a thump and turn to see the plague doctor mask at my feet. I look up to see a crazed woman, her eyes wide and intense. She was dressed in a jester's costume. While I was in the darkness, I had already pulled my gun out. I clicked the hammer back in anticipation.
Mr. Canary, so untrustworthy.
I trust you about as much as a discount fish sandwich on a Monday. Who are you?
I am going by my maiden name these days. I ceased to be a Vogel years ago. It is I, Greta von Ubel, ex-wife to this pitiful Franz, and adoring mother to our dearest Franz.
You see, I did a little sleuthing of my own after Franz left the office. I was at the docks, with binoculars. He never showed, but you did. And you had the foreman load your truck with the stolen exhibits.
I didn't think he'd actually grow a spine and go to the authorities. After he visited you, I hid on the floor in the back seat of his car. His neck got acquainted with my piano wire, while he still had a little bit of life left in him. I pulled his mask off and tilted the rearview mirror to his eyes as he struggled, so he could watch the flesh disfigure and feel his flesh burn, just like our dearest Hans. Oh, der Arme. I watched the terror in his eyes as his face reddened and blistered, and then he went limp. I laughed with glee, as I still needed a few more parts. Couldn't use any of his blighted, cursed skin, but his heart was still good. Good for something. Only a few more moments now and we will be reunited. I am so happy.
Reunited with who, Greta?
Hallo? With Hans, of course, du blöder Arschloch. I couldn't go on without our son. I tried, but I couldn't. So I dedicated every waking hour reading science literature, meeting with doctors and outside-the-box thinkers. Through my years of study, I have learned the secrets of life. I have discovered full human reanimation. Only a woman can bring forth life after all.
She started to affix ropes to her arms and legs that were draped by pulleys from the ceiling. There was a table obscured by a curtain that she had wheeled in out in the darkness, the other end of the ropes disappearing behind it.
No picture could do him justice. So when Hans passed, I had his head preserved, not knowing then that he would be the subject of the greatest breakthrough in science. Mr. Canary, please flip the left switch behind you. Keep the gun pointed at me if it makes you feel better.
I flipped it. I don't know why, but I did. I had to see. Luckily, no trap sandbags. Electricity writhed and danced from a Tesla coil as his buzz filled the room.
It's alive! He's alive! Lebt noch! Oh, Hans!
She pulled the lines taut and a silhouette of a broad-shouldered man appeared behind the curtain. She waved her arm violently and it moved in unison, knocking the curtain away.
Hans, my baby boy, mein kleiner Engel. Ach, Deine Mama liebt dich so sehr. Ich hab dich so sehr vermisst. Oh, mein Kleiner. Mother loves you so.
It wasn't hands. It wasn't reanimation of deceased flesh. It was haphazardly sewn together body parts with a grayed child's head sewn on top. This is what happened to the missing exhibits. She marionetted this mockery of the human form around the room as she danced in unison with it. The shoddy stitching was giving way as the chemical-logged flesh sloughed it from his bones, as it left a trail of her insanity.
My son. My son. Together at last.
Hänschen klein ging allein in die weite Welt hinein. Stock und Hut steht ihm gut, ist gar wohlgemut. Doch die Mutter weinet sehr, hat ja nun kein Hänschen mehr. Wünscht ihr Glück, sagt ihr Blick, kehr nur bald zurück.
She was easily accosted. Insisted she'll be okay now that Hans is back. She'll be spending the rest of her life under lock and key at the funny farm. I can almost feel sympathy for her. I don't know what it's like to bring life into this world and have it prematurely taken away. It's unnatural for a parent to outlive their children. Not possible to know how I would have reacted in her shoes. Maybe I would lose it and never come back.
Voice acted by, in order of appearance, Chrisi, Talyn, Sage as Unnamed Speaker, M.T. Goins as Unnamed Speaker, J. Henry as Canary P.I, Michael Robinson as Franz Vogel, Tina Marie Serra as Greta von Ubel. Written, directed, and edited by J. Henry. Music by Pedro Esparza, Vivek Abhishek, Kevin MacLeod. Keep tabs on us at twitter.com/RPCanaryPI. This concludes the broadcast.